Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday Motivation Live. We are February. Finally, we got through January. That year was crazy. That whole month just went on forever. So we are a new topic. We are talking about how do you stand out in your business. So today my special guest is Jeff. So Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Jeff Manning. I'm with Think Forward Media. And primarily we build websites, and those websites are designed to bring in business. So not just be a pretty thing that shows up for you, but actually brings in more revenue, gets customers calling, or getting them in the door depending on what you do. So that's our objective. So beyond just the Wix websites or the themed websites, we really focus on making sure that your website has a call to action and that customers know exactly what they're doing. So most people don't realize, but people spend about 3 seconds on your webpage. So they get to your website and they spend about 3 seconds, and if they can't figure out what you do, that you can resolve their problem and how to do that, they're gone. They're going to the next listing on Google. So we try to combat that by using detailed analytics and some strategies to help promote getting your website out there and getting people calling.
Awesome. So we were kind of talking about that. I mean, when you first start a business, you're like, I need a website, I need this. So a lot of people don't have the money, so they kind of invest in the cheaper websites or whatever, and you'll quickly learn that you will outgrow that, especially if it's you're selling or whatever you're using your website for. So Jeff is here to give us some tips on how to stand out with our websites and why it's important that we have good website. Like he just discussed about people spend about 3 seconds on there.
Yeah.
And what else, Jeff? Why do we need a good website?
Yeah, so obviously it's the 21st century. Everybody's going to Google you, and if you don't have a presence there, you're pretty much dead in the water. So a lot of, especially younger people, they go on, and if you don't have a Google My Business listing and then a proper website to go with it, they're just going to go to the next listing. So that's number one. You just won't be found. Number two, having a proper website with a clear call to action is the only way you're going to get people to call you. It's one thing to have, like I mentioned, a pretty website that actually looks good and people enjoy the look of, but I know I said that recursively, but the big thing is that you have some way for people to get a hold of you and that they understand why they want to get a hold of you. Think about it for yourself. If you go onto a website and you're like, okay, so it's purple, it's pretty, sure, but what do they do? Are they a plumber? Are they a florist? I don't know. So that's the other piece that I can really say definitely do. The third thing I can definitely say is make sure your website's mobile responsive. And that means that when you look at it on your phone or your tablet or your computer, your website still looks good. Mm-hmm. So most themes these days are mobile responsive, but I still see the odd website where it's just fixed width. And so you're getting a lot of loss there because people, they can't read your website because it's, quarter inch thick. And it doesn't mean pinch and zoom, that's not mobile responsive. If you can't read it at the first glance, it's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah. The last thing people like to forget about, just the primary things, is just the phone number. If you don't have your phone number clearly listed in the header of your website, you're losing out on piles of business. Now, it's about 50-50. People like to either fill out a contact form and they call you. It just depends. Generationally, a lot too. Like people, millennials and down, tend to like to use contact forms and have you get back to them. But the older generation, pretty much your 40 plus, always just clicking on the phone number and making a call. And so if you're not getting the phone number on your header, you're not making it clear, you're losing piles of business. People can just go back and go to the next listing, and then you just lost that sale. So those are the big things I can tell you in terms of actually just your website itself. The other things is being active on social media. So having your website listed in Facebook and Twitter, and if it's relevant, Pinterest. It just depends on which ones you want. LinkedIn's another great one. If you're on there, you're clearly listing your website, do some infographics, and then obviously link back to your website. That's a big thing. And then many of my clients will know this because I harp about them constantly about it, and that's blogging. So when we talk about blogging, we're talking about trying to catch those people who are looking for something really specific. Okay. So blogs are great because when people search in Google, they're asking how do I fix my pipe under my sink? Let's just talk about that. And so they'll type that into Google, and if you have an article detailing exactly what that looks like, you're obviously going to show up pretty high up on Google, and then people can click on your ad, then you have the phone number like I mentioned in the header, and you're going to get that phone call. So blogging is huge. Plus, Google likes to see active websites. So they like to see you constantly making updates and changes. And so having a blog gives Google a clear indication that yes, you are indeed a real business, you really are updating the website, and it's not dead.
And you should be updating your website. I find a lot of people do that. They do the website and they just do it and forget it, right? And
Absolutely. And websites they're evolving. I mean, you can think about it yourself. The internet's kind of this adaptive thing. You kind of think it's fluid, it changes constantly. And your website needs to respond to that. So I'm not saying you need to have a whole new design every year or so, but at least update the copy on the homepage, make sure your services are relevant. And you should be changing your business's objectives yearly and reviewing to make sure that you're staying competitive, and your website should reflect those as well. So that's another thing people definitely fail to do, is just keeping up with, it's 2020 now. Last year I'm doing one thing and maybe I'm changing it to another. The plumber, like I mentioned, maybe lots of people aren't having problems with sinks, but now showers is the big thing. It's the winter time, cracked pipes. So just making sure that you're staying up to date on that and changing and updating with the times. That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly. That was a lot of useful information, people. So I hope you found that, I find it mind-blowing when he talks about stuff like that, because I have no idea, right? So if you guys have any questions for Jeff, leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure that he gets them and he can answer them for you. And where can we find you on social media, your website?
Yeah, so my website is thinkforwardmedia.com, and our social media is Think Forward Media, except for Twitter, which is Think Forward M. So you can find us, basically just type in Think Forward Media. We'll pop up in virtually every different type of social media you can think of.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff, for being on with me and giving us all that awesome information. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So you guys have an amazing day, and we'll catch up with you later. Bye.